At the end of this coming match day, one of these four clubs will be bottom of the EFL. Will it be Tranmere, Crawley, Stanley or Shrewsbury? Now, let's find out. My name is Dirk and this is Blackburn Rovers Seas, your non-stop shop for EFL action. That's right, today we're predicting match number 13, that's right, in League Two. Unlucky for some. Hey, and also if you're new, do us all a favour, smash the old subscribe, boys and girls. This is your one-stop shop for EFL action. And can I get a like target? Can we push it to 40 likes? Can we get 40 likes on the video? Well, anyway, sit tight, hold on. Let's get into it. Okay, let's take a look back at the last round of matches. These are the results. And these were my predictions. Alright then, kicking on forward to match number 13. We got some absolute cracking games on the agenda, including this one, which is Cambridge United up against Bromley, coming at you on the 18th of October. Neil Harris's lads are in 11th spot right now with 18 points, taking on Bromley and the Adwee Woodmen, who are 10th with 18 points as well. They have played twice since 2015, one win for Bromley, nothing for Cambridge. There has been one draw between these two sides. Cambridge are, though, coming into this on the back of a defeat. But prior to that, unbeaten in the previous three matches. As for Bromley, pick up a win last time around, which ended a streak of at least 5 games without a defeat. Now, the last time they played, it was at Bromley. It was a friendly. It was way back in July 2015. But coming into this, Cambridge are on the back of a 2-0 loss to Shrewsbury. Bromley picking up that cheeky 1-0 win over at Crewe. And over at Cambridge, we got 12-11 for the host and the Harris there. We got 5-2 your Bromley, your visitors who are doing good on the Woodman. And we got 9-4 is the draw, but the pressure, my friend, is over to you. For me on this one, I'm going to go with Cambridge United, of course, after those bookies' odds. 2-0 winners on the night and their own backyard. Head over to Salford now as they take on Oldham in a bit of a northwest crunch clash. Salford under Carl Robinson back into ninth right now, winning 3 and losing 3 over the last 6 matches. Taking on Oldham under Mickey Mellon, they're down to 15th with 15 points, where they have played Salford 7 times in 2019. 4 wins Salford, 2 wins for Oldham. There's been 1 draw. Now coming into this, Salford are on the back of a defeat. They picked up a defeat last time around, but they lost to Chesterfield, also a northwestern club. Prior to that, they did pick up a cheeky little win over Stockport County in the Football League Trophy North. As for their opposition, Oldham under Mickey Mellon, winless now in the last 4 matches, of course, but they did pick up a cheeky draw against Barrow, another northwest club, this past weekend over in League Two. Now, these two clubs have played familiar times, 7 times since 2019. 4 wins for the hosts there, of course, 2 wins for Oldham, and there's been 1 draw between the two sides. They last played way back in Oldham back in April 2022 in League Two, where Salford came out on top with a 2-1 win. In fact, Salford are back-to-back winners against Oldham in the league heading into this one. That's Northwest Crunch Clash indeed. Salford, even money there, could be backed. And of course, 14-5, your new boys Oldham looking good in the division right here and now. 23-10 is the draw if you want to go down the middle. Thanks for the bookies odds. They're going to go with a cheeky 1-0 win for Salford to continue their recent charge for the playoffs. Maybe there's more on the agenda for them. Moving forward, we're going to go to Accrington Stanley now as they take on Swindon. That's right. Stanley under John Doolan not doing the best at the moment. They're sitting down into 20th right now with 9 points. Up against Swindon under Ian Holloway, sitting in second with 24 points. Of course, as these two sides lock horns for the 14th time since 2006. Stanley picking up 5 wins, Swindon also picking up 5 wins, and there's been 3 draws between the two sides. Now, Stanley coming into this on the back of a run of 4 successive defeats. As for Swindon, they're picking up 5 wins at the last 6 matches. Now, the previous match between these two sides was a penalty shootout victory for Stanley back in November 2024 at this very venue, of course. As for the league, back-to-back draws between these two sides, including a 0-0 when they last played at Swindon and a 2-2 in the league when they played also back in November 2024. Stanley, though, on the back of that 1-0 loss to Newport County, coming into this. Speaking of Newport County, Swindon Town's last match also against Newport County, but this time Swindon come away with a win. That's right. As for me, I'm going to go over to the bookies to see what they think. Give us a bit of an indication as to which way we'll swing. Oh yes, Accrington Stanley forever the bridesmaid, never the bride. Up against Swindon Town and Ian Holloway are flying high. The visitors 12-1. You can get your Holloway lads there. 12-5 though. Your visitors, good bet on that one if it can get a bit of good form out of them. 12-5 is your draw. That is of course a tight one in League Two. And as for those bookies odds, I'm going to go with a away win here. Swindon Town are the real deal under Ian Holloway. Next up, we go to Bristol. That's right, Bristol Rovers under Darrell Clark, trying to get another win under their belts as they take on a Tranmere Rovers side managed by Andrew Crosby. That's right, this one taking place at the Memorial Stadium, with Bristol Rovers currently find themselves in 14th with 17 points, up against the Tranmere side in 19th with 11 points. That's right. Now, coming into this, they have played 13 times between each other, 4 wins apiece and 5 draws. That's right. Bristol Rovers, though, winning 2 and losing 2 over the last 4 matches, but the most recently coming into is on the back of a defeat. That's right, that defeat was a 4-0 loss against MK Dons. As for Tranmere, also coming into on the back of a defeat, where they've just won once in the last 6 matches. Their defeat was a loss to Barnet in their own backyard at Prenton Park. Now, these two clubs have played familiar times over the course of a few years there, 13 times, of course, with 3 successive draws, including a 1-1 when they last played back in April 2022. Bookies, what do you think about this?
Okay, Bristol Rovers, terrible start to the campaign, bounced back a little bit, now going for a little bit of a turbulent campaign once again. 10-9 on though, red hot favourites against a Tranmere Rovers side who are at 14-5 and continue to struggle, goodness gracious me. 5-2, you can get the draw if you want to go down that way, but surely only one winner.
I'm going to go with on this one, sitting on leaning towards Bristol Rovers. I think they are find a bit of form of late. It might have dipped currently, but I do think they're a serious contender for those playoffs. I do think they'll be there or thereabouts come the end of the season. Colchester United next as they take on Harrogate. Goodness gracious me, Danny Cowley's boys have found some form. That's right, they've won 3 on the bounce and they currently find themselves in 16th place with 14 points. On the other side though, Harrogate with Simon Weaver in the dugout, they've actually lost back-to-back matches heading into this, sit 17th right now with 14 points. The hosts, of course, Colchester, on the back of a 2-1 win over Grimsby, High Flyers Grimsby. That makes it 3 wins on the bounce for them, scoring what we're looking at 10 goals in the last 3 games combined for Colchester. As for their opposition, Harrogate, back-to-back defeats, losing to Crewe, losing to Fleetwood. Of course, now they're hoping to get back to winning ways once again. Now, these two clubs have played, like I said, 10 times since 2020. 5 wins for Colchester, 4 wins for Harrogate, and there's been 1 draw between the two sides. They last played at this venue. It was a 1-0 win for Harrogate, who are unbeaten against Colchester over the last 4. They've actually won 3 of them and only drawn the 1. And they've actually got 3 clean sheets on the bounce against their opposition. Bookies, what do you think?
Okay, Colchester United found some form, and of course the bookies can see it as well. 3-2 odd for the victory against a Harrogate town. 4-1 at the moment. Looks like they're going to go for a defeat here, but with us guys here on the old the high street. And we've got 13-5 currently for the draw if you can't decide between the two.
Colchester might be favoured, but I'm going to go with also a 2-0 win for Colchester to take all 3 points. And again, continue that recent resurgence under the Cowleys, that's right. Meanwhile, Barnet next up. They take on Notts County, coming at you over in Barnet, who are cooking with some gas right now. They are 7th with 20 points. They're unbeaten in at least the last 6, picking up 5 wins at the last 6. Up against Notts County under Martin Peterson, who are 13th with 17 points, and they won 3 out of the last 4. So this game's quite spicy. Coming into this, though, Barnet on the back of back-to-back 2-0 wins, beating Accrington, Stanley, and most recently Tranmere. As for their opposition, Notts County also on the back of successive wins, but both of those games were at home. Now, coming into this, they have played 25 times since 2006. 7 wins for Barnet, 14 wins for Notts County. There's been 4 draws between the two sides, but the last match at Barnet ended up all square way back in March 2023. Bookies, over to you.
Oh yes, Barnet. 12-1, 12-11, sorry, is your Barnet for the odds for the victory at home this coming match day. 23-10, Notts County. I think they go good on form, both these two sides, so very tricky to decipher. So you might want to go for the draw, which is a 12-5.
For me, I've got to go with a draw on this one. Yeah, Barnet are cooking with gas, but Notts County also got a bit of clout in the game these days, and I think it's going to be quite tight between these two sides when, of course, they lock horns this coming Saturday. Next up, it's Chesterfield up against Fleetwood Town. Chesterfield under Paul Cook currently find themselves in 6th place with just 1 defeat in the last 6 games. Up against Fleetwood under Pete Wild, who've had a bit of a resurgence of late. Just 1 defeat in the last 6, where they do sit 12th right now with 18 points. Now, coming into this, Chesterfield are, of course, on the back of successive wins. Actually, 2 wins on the bounce, back-to-back clean sheets as well. Picking up a 1-0 win over Burton in the Football League Trophy. And, of course, more recently, this past weekend, a 2-0 win over Salford. As for Fleetwood, also on the back of successive couple of wins there. 4-0 wins over Leeds Youth in the old Football League Trophy Northern, and a 3-2 win over Harrogate this past weekend over in League Two. Now, these two clubs have played 15 times in 2012. We've got 6 wins for each and 3 draws between the two sides, with the last match at this venue being a 3-0 win for Chesterfield back in April 2025.
Chesterfield back in action, of course, a 7-5 for the odds against Fleetwood Town in this Northwest Contrast. 7-2 is your visitors, of course, and 27-10. Paul Cook, can he get another victory? We'll see.
With all that being said, got to go with Chesterfield here. 2-1 winners for them to maintain their push for not only the playoffs, but much, much more than that. Grimsby Town next up, taking on Gillingham in the Battle of the G's, of course, coming at you over at Grimsby. David Artell's lads are 5th right now, 21 points for them, up against Gillingham under Gareth Ainsworth, who are 3rd, 22 points, but they're coming into this without a win in the last 4 matches. Bit of a rough patch for the away side here. Now Grimsby coming into this on the back of a 2-1 loss to Colchester. Most recently, it's actually been back-to-back defeats, back-to-back home defeats for Grimsby. This is, of course, their 3rd home match in a row. Up against the Gillingham side, who again winless in at least 4 matches, with a draw most recently against Cheltenham, bouncing back with a new coach. That's right. So 1-1 scoring for the Gills last time around. Now these two clubs have played 14 times since the year 2000. 4 wins Grimsby, 6 wins Gillingham, and there's been 4 draws between the two sides, with the most recent match at this venue being a 1-1 scoreline way back in January 2025.
Okay, Grimsby Town a bit out of shapes, but out of sorts. Up against the Gillingham side, also having a bit of a wobble at the moment towards the top end. 5-2 are your visitors. That's the Gills. Even money is your Grimsby, and 13-5. That's your draw.
Grimsby flying high, of course, or were flying high, as were Gillingham. It's a tough one, of course. Probably going to be right down the middle. So I'm going to sit on the fence here with a 1-1 scoreline, as, of course, these two sides lock horns this coming match day. MK Dons next up, taking on Crewe Alexandra, coming at the Stadium MK. That's right, Paul Wharton's lads flying high now into 4th place, 21 points for them. They've won 3 out of the last 4 matches. Up against Crewe, Lee Bells, boys are in 8th right now, 19 points, just 1 defeat in the last 3. Now, MK Dons under Paul Wharton on the back of a 4-0 win, massive win on the road to Bristol Rovers most recently to make it back-to-back wins in the league. As for Crewe, coming into this on the back of that 1-0 loss to Bromley, surprise loss at Gresty Road. But of course, these two sides locking horns for the 26th time since the year 2000. 12 wins for MK Dons, 8 wins for Crewe. There's been 5 draws between the two lads. Sets of lads here. Coming into this, they last played at this very venue. It was a 1-1 scoreline way back in December 2024. Of course, but MK Dons have got a streak now of 3 games without a loss against Crewe. In fact, just 1 defeat against them in the last 6.
MK Dons are crushing it at the moment. 5-4, nailed on for the victory against the Crewe side, who are flapping around a little bit. 10-3, your visitors. The draw is at 5-2.
Tough one here to call. I do like Crewe, but I think MK Dons are on a good bit of form right now. I think they'll snatch this one. 2-0 winners for them in their own backyard. Let's head over to Wales now, shall we? As Newport County take on Cheltenham. That's right. Newport under David Hughes are 23rd. They've got 8 points for the campaign, but they're coming into this on a back-to-back wins. Taking on Cheltenham under Steve Cotterill, of course, back in the hot seat once again. Currently find themselves 24th with also 8 points as the two bottom clubs lock horns over in Wales. That's right. Newport County on the back of that 1-0 win over Accrington Stanley to get back-to-back away wins, of course, including a win over Cardiff in the Football League Trophy Southern not too long ago. So back-to-back wins, back-to-back clean sheets. Can they bloody do it this time around? Not too sure. Cheltenham are on the back of that 1-1 scoring away to Gillingham, that's right. In fact, they're unbeaten now in the last 2 games in the league. Goodness gracious me. They last played these two clubs in Wales. It was a 3-0 win for Cheltenham back in February 2025. 2-0 winners, 3-0 winners it was, sorry, back last campaign. There's actually been 3 wins on the spin for Cheltenham in all venues, all competitions. And of course, what about the bookies? What do they think for this one?
Yep, as you said it, back in Wales we go. 6-5, your Newport County for the W here. Cheltenham under new coach, 23-10. They look like good money, good wager. 21-10, of course, is the draw if you want to play it safe between these two.
With all that said, new manager bounce for Cheltenham. I think they might snatch this one as well. Going to go with a 1-0 win for Steve Cotterill and Cheltenham to maybe start moving up the table where they belong. Shrewsbury Town taking on strugglers Crawley, that's right, coming at you this weekend. Shrewsbury, 22nd right now, 9 points for them. Unbeaten the last 2 matches up against Crawley and Scott Lindsay, who are 21st with 9 points. Of course, big week at the bottom of the table over in League Two. Now, Shrewsbury under Michael Appleton do come into this on an unbeaten streak of the 2 games. Back-to-back clean sheets, including a draw away to Barrow and a win at home to Cambridge. Meanwhile, Crawley on the flip side picked up a draw against high-flying Walsall most recently, 1-1 scoreline back in the 11th of October. Coming into this now, these two clubs have played 8 times since 2011. We got 3 wins for Shrewsbury, 2 wins for Crawley. There's been 3 draws between the two sides. They last played over at Shrewsbury. It was a 2-1 win for Crawley back in May 2025. That was, of course, when these two clubs were in League One.
Shrewsbury Town desperate for a win, and it's showed in the bookies here. 5-4 up against fellow strugglers though, Crawley. So this could be the result, or could be the fixture that gets them at least back on track, or get the game back on the plan here. 21-10 your long shots. spots. Scott Lindsay's lads, 9-4 is the draw.
Going to go with a 2-1 win for me for Shrewsbury on this one. Michael Appleton will take the 3 points and, of course, increase the pressure on Scott Lindsay. And then finally, folks, we go over to the best Scott as Walsall under Matt Sadler, who is sit top of the table right now with 26 points, taking on a Barrow side under Andrew Wing, who are down to 18th with 14 points. Now, these two clubs have played 10 times, and we'll talk about that shortly, but Walsall coming into this on the back of a draw away to Crawley. Of course, 1-1 draw. That follows a 1-0 loss to Northampton Town in the Football League Trophy in a week, which didn't amount to much for the table toppers. As for Barrow, coming into on the back of that 0-0 scoreline away to Oldham in the Northwest Crunch Clash. However, that makes now at least winless in the last 4 games for the visitors. Now, these two clubs have played 10 times to 2020. 1 win for Walsall, 5 wins for Barrow, goodness gracious, 4 draws, of course. They last played over at Walsall was a 1-0 win for the Saddlers back in December 2024. Coming into this, though, it's just one, what are we looking at here? 1 defeat for Barrow over Walsall in the last 6 games, goodness gracious me. So they do like playing them, and there's not many goals between them when these two sides lock horns.
Well, they're absolutely crushing it right now. Walsall table toppers 5-4, nailed on for the victory against the Barrow side towards the bottom end of the table at 7-2. The draw, 12-5. Easy money. Back the side.
So the bookies, of course, appreciate that, and of course my result on this one will go in favour of the table toppers, Walsall. Cooking gas right now, and of course Matt Sadler hoping to make amends from last season's choking efforts, which see them, of course, tumbled out of the top spots into the playoffs, and of course ultimately failure. But also 3-0 winners over Barrow, and if I am right, folks, this is what the table will look like at the end of it. And if I'm right, folks, this is what the table will look like. Walsall leading the charge over in League Two with Swindon Town in 2nd spot and MK Dons into the 3rd automatic spot. Going down, it is Crawley, it is Newport County, it's pretty much as you were. There you have it, folks. That completes my match number 13 predictions over in League Two. Please drop your own predictions in the comments section so we can showcase you those next time around to see how many you got right compared to me. That's right. Of course, until then, subscribe, smash the like wherever you are in the world. Of course, we'll be back for more action very, very soon.